What's up, y'all? This is probably going to be the last video before I head to the Philippines and have an endless summer and give you guys an endless supply of wakeboarding videos every second day forever. But today I'm going to be uploading my Grab Matters podcast that I did over on the Grab Matters channel. You guys are definitely going to want to head over to their channel and give them a subscription. Grab Matters is a channel that does podcasts with all the top athletes in our sport and all of the people in our sport that are quite important. And if you follow their channel, you'll get kind of a great insight of what goes on within our industry. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoy my podcast I did with them. And yeah, here's the video.
I approve waterboarding. They're talking about wakeboarding. The thing about wakeboarding, every trick is an invert.
Backside,
air railings,
a new dimension.
everybody is going huge.
What do you think about waterboarding? I said, I like it a lot, but I don't think it's tough for no.
We're recording, we're live here. We're back with another episode of the Grab Matters podcast. We got JB Oneill here. How you doing, JB?
Pretty good.
Pretty good. What's your real name?
Jack Belton Oneill IV.
How old are you?
19-ish.
No. What year were you born?
I can't remember.
Oh, you can't remember, really? Okay. What are you, 31?
Yeah.
32? Oh, you're 31.
Yeah.
Sweet, lucky guess. Yeah, those are kind of first funny questions, but to get into like growing up wakeboarding, how'd you get started wakeboarding?
Basically, my dad had like a super old Sea Ray. I think it was like probably like around a 1998 Sea Ray or something like that, like 20 foot, 21 foot. So we just saw other boats on the lake and people would wakeboard, and the boat actually came with a wakeboard with like the sandal straps. So we tried it out then, and I thought it was stupid because it had like a giant fin like that, you know, and had like a aluminum sheet of metal on top and then the sandal straps. So yeah, I wasn't into it. I was like fully about kneeboarding.
Really?
Yeah.
What age was this?
I'd say around like 13, and then it probably wasn't like until another year later, one of the homies had like a wakeboard with probably like Hyperlight 30-60 bindings on it, like all rubber kind of. You put the slime on your foot and put it in there, and then I thought it was sick because I could like get like a foot of air or something. I would only do like toe side jumps on like this deck boat this kid's mom had. So after that, I was like, oh, this is awesome.
And this is in Texas?
Yeah,
Born and raised in Texas. And we're on the lake? Or
Lake Travis.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is that where you're still at?
Yeah, I live near Lake Travis, but I ride on Lake Austin on the boat, and then I guess I've been riding Quest lately on the cable, but that's just the closest one.
Okay. So you got into wakeboarding. When did you kind of start taking it seriously? And like not pursuing it as a profession, but like riding a lot and taking it seriously? Probably
when I was like 14, I'd say. Because my dad just took me to like a contest, and the first contest I went to, or he bought me like a $100 wakeboard from Houston Ski and Board whenever they were closing out of business. And then the first contest I went to, I was 14, but probably looked around 9. And I did like a tantrum or something, but when a 9-year-old does a tantrum, there was an O'Brien rep there, and they hooked me up with a free board. So like I thought I was sponsored, you know, and I was like, oh, well, if I'm sponsored, you know, I got to be better at this. So then I was like, okay, well, let's try and get better at it.
Yeah, and this is you're still behind your dad's boat or parents' boat?
Yeah, my dad had a Sea Ray still, and there was a local guy in town named Billy Garcia, and he was the 5-time Masters world champion or something, and I thought the master meant you were the master. So I thought he was the best, but I would go out on his boat and like pull in the ropes and stuff for kids, and I would ride behind his, I think he had like a Malibu at the time, and I would ride behind that wakeboard boat and started learning a lot of tricks with him.
Okay, so you're not sponsored, but are getting flow from O'Brien or whatever?
Yeah.
At 14, 15 years old.
Yeah.
Does that relationship, go further, or is it?
Yeah. No, it went further. Like, so we kept riding, and then we couldn't really afford a new boat, so we'd go demo boats from all of the dealerships, and we just go one dealership to the next, and you just ride the boat, and it doesn't cost anything. So, I mean,
so you're just test driving boats, riding behind them.
Yeah, exactly. And then riding with Billy, and then eventually we got like an inboard outboard Supra, like ski boat, and it wasn't like awesome by any means, but it was like a banger deal and not $50,000. Just to think a boat was only $54,000 back then. Now it's like $300,000. But yeah, so we just started riding behind that a lot, and I got picked up by O'Brien eventually, but not behind the boat. Our boat blew up, so I started riding cable because the boat blew up.
What age was that?
I'd say like 18.
Okay,
like
so last year.
Yeah, last year. But at that point, I could already do like a 9 behind the boat and like a bunch of mobs. So going to the cable, it was pretty easy to progress. And just besides rails, I would spin on them because I didn't know what a Zeech was or any of that. So yeah, eventually I got picked up by O'Brien, and they put me on a small salary. And yeah, I was going pretty well with them for a minute.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, so how long were you on O'Brien for then?
I think like 11 years.
Really?
But like I was on flow for a
Yeah.
long time, and then I did 2 years on salary with O'Brien. Well, I'd say 1.5 because then I got kicked off.
Why'd you get kicked off?
I didn't really like the direction of like their marketing and how they were going, so I'd kind of like butt heads a lot with the team manager, but it wasn't really like my job. So like I was just kind of being a dickhead and just being like, well, this is dumb, or like, I don't know, they just weren't grabbing a lot of traction on like their Facebook, Instagram, their videos. It was just kind of lame, kind of to me.
Yeah.
Is what I thought. But yeah, I mean, they were more into like, I don't know, like a Dick's Sporting Goods kind of like academy, like, I don't know, more family.
Big box stores and
Yeah, and it just, my idea of like cool would have been like more of like a Hyperlight, Roenick, Slingshot kind of vibe where they were like trying to appeal to like a cooler crowd. But yeah, the marketing was just totally different than my idea, and I don't know, I just kind of was a pretty big dickhead about it, and then I ended up getting kicked off. Yeah.
So was that enough money to live off though when you're on O'Brien, or?
Like living in a van outside of Mike Dowdy's house, yeah, sure. Or eating like ramen noodles every day and eggs. Yeah, for sure.
Okay, but it's enough that like you don't have to work another job, even though, I mean, it's not a great life, but.
I mean, for a minute before that, I was cleaning a lot of pools to like save up just
Okay.
so I could drive a scooter and have 60 plus MPGs, and then maybe drive the scooter back and forth with the van or whatever, or stay at my dad's house but yeah, it was not ideal.
So that year and a half you're on O'Brien, are you in Florida then? If you're parked outside Dowdy's house?
I did Florida for like winter, so I would have had my van in Florida for like a winter, and I just had my van parked at Dowdy's house, and then I actually moved it to maybe a couple other houses because it was just like the landlord would not be stoked with my van just sitting outside the houses. So yeah, I just kind of moved it to a couple different houses and would just, drive around on my scooter back to my van.
So you had a pretty good relationship with Dowdy then? You ride behind his boat? And
Yeah, we rode a lot behind his boat. I think that was like when the G first came out.
Yeah.
So like that was kind of a game changer at the time. So yeah, everything was just way easier. Like for me, I could do 9s like way easier, and like I was starting to do like a lot of Mob 5s, which is nothing really compared to now. I mean, Dowdy was doing double roll the blinds and stuff at the time. I mean, he's insane.
How did that relationship with Dowdy start?
I think just like me and a lot of the boys around that time, like me, Dowdy, Gunner Daft, Keenan Allen, Kyle. I mean, there's a ton of them. Kyle Evans. There's a ton of boys that was like kind of like our age group. I was kind of stuck between like a Jimmy LaRich and their age group era. So I just kind of ended up hanging out with those boys a bunch and having a lot of fun with them.
Okay. So I know you'd mentioned previously your dad bought an X-Star. You were looking around for an X-Star a long time. Was that before this, or is that after this?
Yeah, this is before this.
Okay, so
yeah, the timeline is kind of mush for me. But yeah, so it would be. Oh no, yeah, it would be before this.
It was before.
Yeah.
Okay, so I guess we can jump back to that. Because before the X-Star, you just had that IO, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and then you were looking for the X-Star for a long time, or not the X-Star, but
Yeah.
a boat.
For a boat, yeah. For a boat with a big engine.
Yeah.
So yeah, basically just browse Craigslist every day and looking for whatever wake boat we could find with the biggest engine possible, because basically to get the big engine you have to order it custom, and you're looking at $100,000 rather than like 40.
Yeah.
So basically I just sat on Craigslist until we found that, and then made a couple email addresses and would lowball the guy like super low, like down to 20 or something, until like we kind of came up with like a meeting point. So my dad got that boat for like,
What do you mean by made a couple email addresses?
like made emails that weren't me. Like, or it
To
was
like
me.
make it look like people were interested at a lower price or something.
Yeah, like offer 20, you'd be like, oh, you might as well double that or whatever, and then say like, oh, your boat's junk, like no one's gonna pay that. And
Okay.
yeah,
So then you get it, and you obviously get a big engine, so you can weight the shit out of it.
yeah.
Um,
So that's basically when I would have started getting a lot better behind the boat, and
Okay.
that's the boat that blew up. The X-Star blew up.
just because you were riding it so much and had a ton of weight in it.
It had, I'm pretty sure it had like a dipstick recall, and so it would say it had oil in there, and it wasn't enough, so it just.
Sucks. So after it blew up, did you?
That's when I
mean,
started riding cable.
Okay, and you didn't get it. There wasn't like we're gonna buy another boat.
No,
It's like
no.
yeah, the money's out.
Yeah.
Okay, so you start riding cable then. Still on O'Brien. What were your thoughts on cable, initially when you started riding it?
I thought cable was dumb.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought cable was super dumb. Like whenever I was a kid, I probably went to TSR like a few times to ride like little grassroots boat contests, and I would hop over it and maybe ride the cable for the day or something. But yeah, I just wasn't into it. I was like super boat or die. Like this is how it is. But then when BSR opened, the cable spun in the direction I preferred, and they were pretty welcoming there at the time, and it was just a ton of fun.
Okay, so it took you a little bit to warm up to it, but once you got kind of into it, you started pushing it pretty hard. And
Yeah, once I got into it, I like started pushing it because I heard that there was going to be like a Triple Crown or something like 6 months from then, and it was winter, and I was like, okay, well, let's learn a bunch of tricks. I went and learned S-Mode, through and 5, backside through and 3, all these air tricks, and then a bunch of kicker tricks. I even landed like a heel 10 back then, which I could not now. So like I was just like learning all these tricks that I thought were going to be what I needed to do, and then everyone shows up for the Triple Crown, and they're doing like front lip 50-50, then front 3 out or something, and I'm just doing 900s across rails and things like, and I was like, this is what these people are doing. What is this? So I didn't even ride the contest because I was like, oh, something's wrong with me. I'm not going to ride in this.
So you saw their riding, you were like, that's not what I've been doing these past 6 months.
Yeah, basically, because I mean in Waco, it was just kind of like the crew from Waco that would ride there, and that park was new. And Graham came in actually at that time and started riding, but I was just hitting kickers a bunch, and I had no interest in rails whatsoever. And then the manager of the park, Turbo, he was probably 6 foot something tall, super tall dude, and he would tell me like, oh, this on the rail was lame or something sometimes. Like we're buddies,
Yeah.
but I was like, oh, whatever. He doesn't know what he's talking about, but he did know what he was talking about. But I just didn't know what was cool and what wasn't, so I was just doing whatever I wanted.
You got to find out one way or another.
Yeah.
Is that the first time you met Graham when he moved down to Waco?
Yeah.
Okay. And
Yeah, I had watched a video before. I think one from Wake Nation Cincinnati had just like popped out just before he came down there. So I saw that, and I thought he was sick actually. And then I met him for the first time there.
Okay. And did you guys kind of hit it off right away and start riding together, or?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, we rode a bit at BSR. His just riding was different than mine, so like it wasn't like feeding off of each other or anything at the moment.
Okay. So at this time in your life, I know you blew out your knee. When did you do that?
Oh, direct drive Supra days. Yeah.
That was way back.
Yeah.
Okay.
Way back. Yeah. I blew my knee and actually started riding again like 3 months later after my ACL surgery, and nothing ever went bad. And then I just kept wakeboarding.
Nothing ever happened.
I mean, it felt kind of weird for a minute, and then eventually, like all the muscles built back up, and I never re-blew it ever. Yeah.
So, I mean, you never wore a knee brace or anything?
I did.
There's wood
I
right
did.
there if you want to knock it out.
No, I wore a knee brace for a minute before I had surgery,
Okay.
and then I kept wearing it after until maybe 6 to 8 months after my surgery, because a couple times I would forget to wear it, and then it was fine, and then eventually I was like, I don't want to wear this anymore.
Yeah, I don't need it.
Sometimes I would put it on like if I was doing something that I knew I was going to get annihilated on, especially because we didn't ride a lot. Like I could only ride on weekends, so my dad wouldn't let me go on the boat with like other kids or anything like that. And
Why not?
I don't know, maybe
Up to no
maybe
good.
they'll run me over, or maybe they're drinking or,
Okay.
or whatever. Like whenever I was a kid, my dad was super protective, I guess.
Okay.
Or like pretty strict.
Yeah.
Yeah, but now he's super cool. But whenever I was a kid, he was pretty strict.
Huh. Okay, so when did you start NAR Productions, or did you start that?
Yeah.
Okay.
So me and my buddies, it would just be like this little crew in my high school. There'd be like 6 of us, probably. Like one rode a dirt bike, one skated, I wakeboarded. We had just like this little clique in our high school that wasn't like the football kids or a band kids or whatever.
Yeah.
So we would just, have the more like extreme sports kind of thing, and we like called it like our NAR crew. It's kind of lame, but like we thought it was so cool. But yeah, and I just started like making videos of me and all my friends back then. So that was really fun, and ended up skateboarding a lot and riding a lot of dirt bikes. I'm not very good at either of those things, but it's fun.
So is that when you first got started making videos, editing, filming?
Yeah.
Okay.
On like mini DV tapes.
Yeah.
Back then, yeah.
So did you start that with the idea of anything, or was it just purely just for fun?
I honestly just wanted like other kids from the school to like see the videos, so maybe we would look cool or something.
Okay.
I didn't think really much bigger than the high school.
Okay, but then it turned into something definitely a little bit bigger as it went on.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Okay, so I mean, I know quite a few of the videos blew up, edits and stuff.
Yeah.
That's obviously like the precursor to your YouTube,
Oh yeah, for sure. Like some of the first videos of like motocross, especially, those are ones that really blew up. There's a couple wakeboard ones that blew up too, but for the most part, like the motocross ones are the ones that went off just because it's like a much bigger sport.
Yeah.
And, so that was pretty good. But eventually, I kind of just stopped putting like a logo and stuff before my videos because I don't know, I just didn't want to like slap my name on someone else's riding or whatever. I didn't want to like take credit for like their ripping.
Yeah. Were any of these, while it was NAR Productions or shortly after, were they getting posted to any of the, the media sites or just your channel?
Yeah, here and there. Like a lot of times it would go on Alliance and it would go on Wakeboarding Mag and stuff for a minute. But yeah, at some points, just depending on who my sponsors, those websites would be like, no.
What do you mean? Like they're not working with those sponsors at the time. So
yeah, so if like my sponsors weren't working with them, they would be like, no, we're not going to post you. I had one from Wakeboarding Mag one time where they're like, oh, well, I mean, they said this to me. They're like, if you were Rusty Malinowski, we would put you on there, like a big name like that, but we need it to blow up. We can't be like putting you on the website like this much, because I was making like a lot of videos, and I was just like, I mean, that sucks. I mean, nothing against Rusty or anything, but it just sucked because I didn't have that big name, and I wanted to try and achieve that big name through video, and it was almost like there was a wall like blocking me.
Yeah, and that's almost kind of not the point of a media site is to keep perpetuating the people at the top. It's like the point of it is to get the people that want to get up there to give them the exposure they need. Yeah. So that probably was it pissed you off a little bit, I would imagine.
It made me hate them so much. Like, I mean, sometimes then I'd be stoked and then I'd get posts on there and I'd be hyped. But then other times then they'd be like, I'm not into it. It's I swear. I feel like the one, like whenever, like if Alliance before, they would have been like, oh, we're not going to post you. We're not going to post any like Hyperlight stuff. Like I was like, I think I'm saying like a lot, but I thought you guys were the Riders magazine,
Yeah.
Well, why would you not post me just because of who I ride for? For like for a whole minute, they were like against Hyperlight whatsoever because we weren't advertising with them.
Interesting. That's really interesting to hear. I mean, I knew some of that, but it's definitely a bummer because it's like I was saying, it's kind of the point of the media companies to do that, especially you think with a rider magazine that's rider focused, you wouldn't be so obsessed with the paychecks and stuff like that.
Yeah. And like probably 4 years ago, whenever that would have happened, their website might have still been relevant. So it would have still been helpful for me, but now it doesn't really matter that much.
I mean, now you're the biggest media channel in wakeboarding.
Yeah. I mean, I don't want to say
by the numbers.
I don't want to say it like that, but yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it is. So I guess we can get into that a little bit later. I still kind of want to go through your history. So you're on O'Brien. Were there any video incentives? Is that, like putting out videos with your contract there or no?
No.
Just a flat salary?
Yeah, it was just a flat salary. And, yeah, that's pretty much it. And I don't know. Yeah, it was just kind of like I didn't know what to do with O'Brien. I'd just make a bunch of videos and I would I would send them like screenshots of what websites I was on, or you know, there's no, anytime you ride for a board sponsor, there's usually like no guidance of like what to do. So like people get kicked off or whatever because they might be doing absolutely nothing, or they might be doing the wrong thing. But if you just, I would send in video clips and stuff all the time, or send in stats of numbers I'm reaching, and a lot of times they get no reply. But then they re-sign you the next year, and you're like, okay, I think I'm doing it right. But that's one thing that sucks about wakeboarding is I feel like none of the brands really give you guidance on what you're supposed to actually be doing.
I mean, that'd be coming from the TM, right? You would imagine that like the
Yeah.
TM would kind of sit down with everyone and check in on a regular basis.
I mean, now with Hyperlight and Centurion, like Centurion will kind of like give me guidance a bit, like, hey, we want clips, make sure the boat is in the clips, like maybe from behind or something.
Yeah.
And then Hyperlight, they're pretty like solid on just pump out a bunch of video content. So that's kind of like the small guidance.
Yeah.
So that's cool. But like leading up to now, like there was not much along the way. Even like before you would sign with a sponsor, it's not like I feel like I was never ever told what to do once along the journey.
That's wild to me.
Yeah.
That they wouldn't even say, anything.
Yeah.
So they just sign you and they start paying you, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah, kind of, yeah.
Okay, so you're on O'Brien. You left, got kicked off, whatever. How long afterwards from leaving O'Brien did you get on Connolly was next, right? CWB.
I think I ran like a year on a blackboard. Like I would just paint.
Like black O'Brien board?
I'd paint O'Brien boards black,
Okay.
yeah. And then Boardco, which I've ridden for like the whole time. They don't pay me or anything. Sometimes they'll do video incentives, but they're always just super cool because they'll reach out to other brands for me and be like, hey, this is what JB's doing. And coming from like a big dealer, it's a lot better than say me reaching out to a brand and be like, hey guys, I'm awesome, sponsor me,
Yeah.
So when they do that, it like Bish from Connolly and Colin Spradlin from Connolly, they're already buddies with Kobe Mikasic, which I was like best buddies. So I was like real scared. I was like, oh, this is not going to go well. So it started off like they were kind of like, well, we heard not the greatest things, but we'll try it out and see how we go a little bit. And then they ended up being pretty hyped with me for the most part. Yeah.
Okay. So did you immediately sign a contract with them then, or no?
Not really. I kind of just like rode for them, and sometimes like I'd go on like a good vibes tour with them, and they would pay me out to like pump out videos of that or whatever. It was never like a real solid.
So it wasn't what you had with O'Brien.
Yeah,
It
no,
wasn't okay, like a flat salary or anything. So at what point did you go to CWC for the first time?
I was still riding for O'Brien.
Okay.
So that would have been, I want to say 2014 or 15.
Okay. And what was the decision to go to CWC? Why did you go there?
An O'Brien dealer from Singapore flew me over. He wanted me to go to all the cable parks over there in Southeast Asia, and I was like, oh, sick. I'm going to get to go to Republic and CWC. And I got there, and I was hanging out with this guy. I'm not going to say his name or anything, but it turned out like he had like a burn bridge with Sestec. I guess he was like reaching out to 1080 life jackets and stuff for me at the time. And then he had a burn bridge with Gov at CWC and Republic. And I was like, man, like a lot of people didn't like this guy. And you're over here, and I was over there, and this dude was representing me, like talking to people for me. And people were sending me emails back telling me like, hey, dude, we'd love to work with you, but you're working with this guy, so we can't. And I was like super bummed about it. And I only went over to Asia with $1,000, and I had no cards. So I just brought.
You had no credit cards?
No. So like I thought like it was supposed to all be paid for. I ended up paying for like some taxis and food here and there, but I was supposed to be there for 6 months or 8 months. 8 months. And I was like kind of concerned because I was spending, and then I was losing credibility from this guy, I feel like. And I eventually was like, screw this. And I bailed out, and I flew over to Republic, and I rode there for 2 days and hopped on the bus by myself. I'd never been there before, so I'm like pretty nervous on the bus, just sitting there for like 8 hours. And luckily the last stop was, like I stayed awake the whole time because I didn't know what stop.
Yeah.
the very last stop was Naga, where CWC is, and I stayed in Derry Malloy's cabin the whole entire, I think there were 6 months left, so I think I stayed in his cabin with him for 6 months, and I only ate chicken bihan every single day because it was the cheapest thing on the menu, and I slowly drained out the rest of that $1,000 and then flew back.
Sick.
Yeah.
Okay, so I mean, you're at CWC for 6 months.
Yeah.
Was Graham there at that time too? Or part of that?
Yeah, he was there for part of that. Yeah.
Okay, so did you immediately like fall in love with CWC? Was it?
Yeah, it was insane, especially because like I think that was like the year after I started riding cable, so I'd learned a bunch of tricks, and then a bunch of the guys that were coming up, like they were all out there. Everybody who was gonna be something at the time, or maybe they didn't become something, but they were rippers.
Yeah.
There were so many people that were ripping there. You could just ride and see different things that are going on, and you could learn so fast. And it was always warm, and the cable was always going normal speed, and you're 100 yards from the cable, so you can just wake up, boom, go. And it was the best place ever for learning, yeah, for sure.
Okay, so that was the first year. So you were still on O'Brien, because I know your Welcome to CWB video was filmed at CWC.
Yeah, so that would have been the next year.
The next year, so
I think I got back from CWC and then got kicked off.
Okay, and then you were doing blackboards, and then the winter of 2015-16 would be
whenever I would have went to CWC on a CWB board. Yeah.
Okay, so you filmed that video. You're on what, Connolly for a year, less than a year?
Yeah, I think it was a year.
Okay, and then why did that relationship end?
They were writing me a contract, and then Greg Nelson hit me up at the same time, and he was like, "Hey, you need to ride for Hyperlight." And at first I was like, "Nah, like no way," because I had been filming that video full send. No, still gonna send it, yeah, on a CWB board, and like I did a lot of stuff that I didn't want to do, and there's still clips I didn't put out or whatever just because I didn't want to do it again. But yeah, I'd filmed so much stuff on this board, and then all of a sudden I wasn't going to be able to like post this video.
Use it, yeah.
And so I was like, nah, I'm not into it. And Greg offered a deal to like do social media on one of his pages, and then a deal like as a rider. So it would have been like 2 separate contracts, which was a lot better than the contract that CWB was giving me. But I was like not into it. I did not want to do what I did again, because I was making.
That was the one thing that was like holding you back.
Yeah. So I like basically the full Zen video before that was my video to like leave wakeboarding, and then I decided to just do this video again. I don't know why.
Leave wakeboarding?
Yeah, I was just like, I was over it.
You were over it?
Yeah,
Why?
I was just because like, I mean, I liked wakeboarding, but like had the hardest time with sponsors and stuff like that. And then after Still Gonna Send It, X Dubai picked me up. So that little bit of budget kept me going. Okay,
so but you filmed most of Still Gonna Send It, and then how does that relationship start with Hyperlight? Because you went back and filmed a bunch of more or the same stuff, I guess.
Yeah. So I was like, nah, but I was at Rocker Steiner's house at the time, and Greg doesn't know this, but Greg called up Sid, Rocker's dad, while I was standing right next to him, but he didn't know I was standing there, and he's like, "Hey, Sid, like you need to talk some sense into JB, blah blah blah, like you need to get him to ride Hyperlight and this and that." And Rocker's dad was like, "I mean, man, you need to give him what he wants, man. You need to give him something good. Otherwise, like I don't know if it's really gonna be worth his time or whatever." Like it was so sick because like Sid fully had my back. And then probably 10 minutes later, Greg called me back and then gave me a slightly better deal. And I was like, all right, I mean, like if I can have like this bit more of budget, then I can afford to actually do what I want. I can go put gas in my car to go to winch spots. I can go travel somewhere and film stuff, or I could film videos every single day and not have to stress about money as much. Not that it was like a lot of money to start, but it was enough to where I could actually do what I wanted and not have to stress about it. So I was like, all right, I signed with Hyperlight, and then I went back and refilmed almost all of the clips from this Still Gonna Send It. But and then it's ended up being pretty good still.
So you signed the contract with Hyperlight, go back to film. So it was basically more money is what Greg came back at you with, and you were like, okay, I'm going to be comfortable now.
It was more money, and it was more like he wanted me like to be a part of them. Whereas like with CWB, I was like, hey guys, like, can I please like just help me out with a little more budget? Or it was like I felt more wanted rather than me trying to pull money out of somebody. Not that it's all about money, but you have to. I mean, you have to be able to eat, you know.
Yeah, and I was talking about this with Graham and how Hyperlight seems to have a pretty tight team aspect in terms of Hyperlight taking care of their riders. It might not be the biggest team.
Yeah.
It's still pretty big, but it seems like everybody on the team is comfortable and like can feel confident in, you know, their board sponsor taking care of them.
Yeah, they for sure take care of us good, and it makes it a lot easier knowing like if I'm gonna go out and make 15 videos this month, and if they all flop, they're still gonna have my back. So then I can try again next month, and hopefully they all kill it. So it's really nice to have there, and it makes my job a lot easier, and I'm pissed off way less because I'm not stressed that it's all going to end tomorrow.
Yeah. So that was 2017 you signed with Hyperlight?
2018.
2018. And your YouTube channel had started to take off at that point?
I hadn't started. I think I did like 3 or 4 videos on a CWB board, but then once I knew I had a little bit of budget behind me, I was like, all right, maybe it would have been my second year with Hyperlight.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, so the second year, since the Still Gonna Send It video would have popped off, and then things were going really good with Hyperlight, they helped me out a little bit more with budget. So that at that point, I knew I was going to be safe. And I think it was multi-year contract.
Like 2 or 3 years?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I was like, okay, if I start now on this YouTube channel thing, if I make a video every second day and just keep pumping them out, and I think it was 3 years, so if I'm failing by the end of the second year, I was just going to bust my ass as hard as I could for Hyperlight if it didn't pop off, you know?
Yeah.
And just do every single thing they said and work as hard as I could to make sure I could get another one after that. So I had that buffer of 3 years of hopefully this works out. Luckily, it started working out in like 6 months. But, yeah, it was pretty scary for like the first 6 months just making video after video after video, and they might only scrape up 800 views. But since I had the buffer behind me to help, then I was able to actually make it successful. So basically, Hyperlight signing me is kind of what made it possible for me to.
It allowed you to be able to pursue that.
Channel.
So when you started the YouTube, I mean, not started the YouTube channel, but started taking it seriously with the videos every other day or whatever. What was there any goal or any direction you had in mind when you were starting it, or?
The year before, David O.C. would have won like Reader's Choice Rider of the Year, and it might not be like the most important award or anything like that, but if there's thousands of people or however many people vote for you, and then you win that over every other rider, it might not be like a real Rider of the Year or anything like that, but if you have like the fans and that, I feel like that's pretty marketable. And if I were to show that to another sponsor or whatever, I feel that maybe more brands would want to pick me up because I would be kind of like the most watched rider.
Yeah.
And that would be, and a lot of brands, they pay attention to Wakeboarding Mag, or they'll pay attention to Alliance, or even though those websites aren't getting viewed a lot of the brands still pay attention to what they have going on. So I just wanted to kind of win that award at first, was the initial goal.
But you didn't have a goal of like, I'm going to do tutorials or I'm going to do edits. It's just like, I'm just going to do everything wakeboarding and I'm going to make sure to get a ton of videos out.
Yeah, there's never been a planned video, like more than 3 days ahead of time.
Really?
For sure. Yeah. Like right now, I think I have like 6 videos, like so 12 days of videos backed up, and I probably won't make another one until I'm in Germany. So whenever I get there, wherever I'm at first, I'm just going to film it. So I have zero plan in my head right now.
So but do you always try to keep like not a backlog, but like a few that are published or whatever and ready to be scheduled to upload?
In case there's like a week of bad weather or if I get hurt a little bit or, yeah, so just I'll always try and have a buffer.
You ever missed a day or missed every second day before?
No, but if I'm starting to get, like the buffer gets smaller, I'll maybe pull a video from Hyperlight or Centurion and like run one of their videos and kind of like credit them at the beginning. And just so I have an extra like 2-day buffer in case I need it. Because if it gets down to like 4 days, then I start to stress.
Yeah, I would imagine so.
Yeah.
there's a lot I want to talk about the YouTube thing, but is that in your contract with Centurion and Hyperlight or no?
No,
Nothing about the YouTubes in there?
No, I just try and like make sure I represent their brands more than other brands that end up in the video. I try and just make sure, like, you know, I film a lot of me or I film a lot of Graham. I try and repost some Hyperlight videos, and it's easy to just go on my boat and film only the Centurion boat. It's not like I have one at my house, so I don't have to go hop on someone else's boat. So it's really easy to do that. Okay,
so I guess before this, you got picked up by X Dubai, right? What is X Dubai?
It's nothing really. It's like I don't really know. Like
you still ride for him or no?
No, I got kicked, or I didn't get kicked off. Just they canceled the whole program.
Okay.
But basically, the ruler of Dubai's son started like this brand that isn't really a brand, but basically they just sponsor athletes around all sorts of different sports, and they just wear the X Dubai logo on their head and hoping of like drawing more tourism to their country because they are the adrenaline capital of the world, or whatever, or draw people to their city. And yeah, it's basically like a tourism kind of advertising, I guess.
Okay, is it similar to like Republic Team? I mean, in a way that it's like it's used to try and get people to come to your country.
Yeah, I guess kind of, but it's not really wakeboarding. It's just there they have a bunch of free runners and maybe a mountain biker and some motorcycle riders.
So how'd that relationship start with them?
I ended up hanging out with, you know, Omir Saeed.
Yeah, he's on Red Bull, right?
Yeah. So the dude, his name is Morgan, and I thought he was Omir's bodyguard. I don't know if I even told this guy this. Hopefully he's watching it. But I thought it was his bodyguard, but really it was just X Dubai team manager, and I think he had something to do with X Dubai at the time. And I was just hanging out with this guy anytime Omir popped up somewhere, and we just ended up being buddies. And my ex-girlfriend, Caro, had been messaging him all the time trying to get on X Dubai. And then she all of a sudden saw a photo or a video of me on his story. Why are you with this Morgan guy? He's like the sponsor of X Dubai. Could you talk to him for me or something? And I was like, oh, no way. And I kind of like didn't say anything to him for a while because like we were friends. I had no idea he worked for them or anything. And then eventually I was like, oh, fuck it. You know, hey, dude, I sent him an Instagram DM. What do you think about sponsoring a wakeboarder, filmer, stuntman guy? And he wrote back. He's like, oh, yeah, okay. He's like, I'll get back to you tomorrow. And then he just said, what's your email? And he sent me a 2-year contract. And I was like, are you serious? Because before that, I used to write the most proper emails with all these stats and blah, 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 send this stuff to people, and no one ever read it. And then the one time I wrote nothing and didn't even care about my message, I got a deal. So I was like, okay, maybe I should be more friends with people instead of being
so business focused.
Yeah.
Being, you know, relationship focused.
Yeah.
What's that contract looking like? Is it pretty, you know, you feel pretty comfortable after you sign that?
No, it wasn't awesome. Like, it's pretty good, but I think it was like $1,000 a month.
Okay.
But I didn't have to do anything. I just walk around. I just put a yellow X on my helmet and then show up to their country once every year or once every 2 years for like a week. And usually I was staying in like, you know, a $3,000 to $10,000 a night hotel room or something, and hang out there and eat as much food as I want and whatever film whatever video they want. Just ride, and the filmers are there, and whatever they wanted to film, they would just film it, and I didn't have to like use my own camera or do anything really.
Wow. So they would just fly you out for like a promo video that you would shoot with them.
Yeah.
Like winching through some pools or something, and then that would.
So I mean, it wasn't like a ton of money, but I literally.
I mean, $12,000 a year. I mean.
Yeah, I didn't have to do anything, so it was pretty cool.
So that was a 2-year contract, and then it just kind of fizzled out afterwards, or.
No, they just they flew us all to Dubai to like drive through the desert in Jeeps or something like recently, like end of last year. And then the day we got back, like we left, I think they sent out an email. Oh, we didn't even know this was going to happen, but the whole budget for all athletes just got cut. It was like a group email with all of us, like, sorry guys. And then
it's pretty wild.
But at least like we got like a little vacation, and like did some cool stuff, like drive around in the desert with Jeeps and see like cool camels and like the most epic like scenery I've ever seen. So that was cool.
So it was just a 2-year deal, and then
Oh
or
no,
did you
I
get
think I did the 2-year deal
twice?
twice or 3 times or something.
Okay, so it was a while that you were on,
Yeah,
and it was just stay the same grand a month.
yeah, something like that. But they would just pay out a sum for like a year, so at one time, because every time something would get sent to my bank account from Dubai, it would get blocked.
Yeah.
So they would just do like a lump sum every year.
Okay, so it's very interesting. I feel like that whole X Dubai thing.
Yeah, I could talk about their deal because it doesn't really conflict with anything in wake really.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It's just, do you think that like that was a successful program or whatever that they ran, or?
Yeah, I think so. Because like over there, I think I don't know, the people that go to Dubai, I don't know who goes there just to go there, but I think a lot of people, they go there and they feel that the place is like cool. And
partly because
maybe like core, not cool, but maybe like kind of a kook factor. Someone would think it was super cool. So I think it was probably successful a little bit. They spent a lot of money, but I think it was maybe a little bit.
Got money to spend. So I guess I want to talk about Hyperlight a little bit more before we get into the YouTube thing. How would you compare like your experience with Hyperlight to the past 2, board sponsors you had and your relationship with them?
It's way better, like 1,000 times better. I mean, they're all connected under the same umbrella, but it's way different. Like you go to an O'Brien shoot and it's just, I don't know. It didn't feel like a family, you know? And also with like Oneill, maybe there'd be 3 of us that just show up to a cable park that's close to my house, or like Dallas or something a couple hours away, and someone would come out and shoot for a day. So it was not the same vibe. Maybe back in the day, O'Brien and Oneill, like I don't know, Jimmy LaRich prime time.
It seemed like CWB back when it was like CWB had a pretty sick thing going. I mean, they were popular for a little bit there, in terms of at least like from the core of the sport. It seemed like they were doing more cool things.
Yeah, they for sure. I think it was different before I got on.
Was it like a TM or someone in management that?
No, I think there just wasn't like a team budget as big, so they couldn't have the same team they used to have. So it wasn't. I don't think it was the same vibes that it used to have back in the day. But now on Hyperlight, I come to the team shoot. We all go to dinner together. Rod's there, and Rod has the best vibes ever. We've been making fun of the word vibe all week, but he's such a cool guy, and he makes it real easy. Like he'll whistle at you when you go by. Yeah, that was sick, and like you feel like you're riding good, even if you're not riding good. Like it feels just fun and yeah, I don't know.
Good guy to have
really
around.
Cool.
Okay, so you're on Hyperlight. When does the talk of like getting your own board start?
I don't know. Like when did it come out? 2021 is the first one. So late 2019, I guess.
And they come to you and.
I tried before at the very, very beginning, and they're like, oh, we're not gonna make very many more pro model boards just because they're not selling as well as the regular boards with no name. I was like, okay, cool, whatever. And I wasn't concerned about it at all. And then randomly, Greg messaged me one day, oh well, maybe we should make you your own shape. And I didn't really take it that seriously at first because I didn't know if it was real. And then I actually messaged him about it, and I was like, hey, we're going to get started on this. And it almost felt like he kind of forgot about it. And then, I don't know, it randomly just came back into play, and then it ended up getting put together. It was really kind of odd, actually, because I wasn't sure if it was going to happen or not. And then all of a sudden, Aaron was shaping a board with me. I kind of just told him what I wanted, sort of, and all of a sudden, a prototype showed up to CWC. So.
And you started riding it, and then.
Yeah, the first prototype. Yeah, it showed up. I didn't like it very much. It had like a spine in it, and then the final one, I actually only rode one prototype, which I liked how it rode, but I didn't really like the spine in the middle, which I didn't really want the spine from the beginning, but they just wanted to try it out. It was like real mellow, and yeah, we didn't like it that much, so they just removed that, and the final one is actually the one I rode, so there's no prototype between them. So I was kind of scared, and then when it came out, it was dope, so I couldn't be happier about it, really.
Is that typically how it goes in terms of you get one prototype, say what you want to change, and then they make the board, or you get?
I think it depends on how early they start. Because with me, I think they started pretty late.
Yeah.
So I only got one proto, and then I was like, okay, this is what I don't like, and this is what I like, and can we just make the best of it? So since mine was late, I didn't have that much opportunity to make changes, but luckily the changes I made were epic. So maybe if it was earlier, you could get 2 prototypes, maybe 3.
Yeah.
But they're making so many boards to the line, not like the later boards that get made, they might have less chance to get worked on.
Yeah, definitely. Why did you call it the free press? Is that your decision?
That was just I didn't name it that. Yeah, I would not have picked that one, but but I mean,
it's not a bad name.
Not
I mean,
bad,
it's
yeah.
Is it still called the free press? It's always been free press,
Called
but
the
it's
free
got
press.
Airbud on it now, right?
Yeah, that's all that matters. So the name don't matter to me. It's Airbud's board.
How much money has Airbud made you?
None, but people like send him like treats all the time. Sometimes they'll have like his name like printed into the treats, and like they send him like bandanas and stuff. Airbud's main purpose is I'll show up to like a cable park or something, and people that probably aren't watching your videos, they already know Airbud's name before you like even meet them. So like if they don't say anything to you, they're watching because they already know his name.
Is that a thing that happens? I guess people watch your video, but maybe wouldn't admit they watch your videos.
Yeah, I think so.
And do you think why are people not willing to like get behind it?
Because it's not core. Like me going and riding on a plank of wood is very kooky. I know that, and we all know that, but it's just fun, and it's easy for like the general public to understand, okay, he's going to try this on this board that's not supposed to be ridden, and hopefully it works out. Maybe it doesn't, and it's easy for someone to grasp. But I think if someone who's more core and trying to have like this legit style on their wakeboard and be very skate or snow, that might be kooky.
Yeah.
Which it totally may be. But yeah, I don't know. So it's not the coolest thing to watch for someone who's very core, probably.
Did you get any, backlash or hate when you started leaning into the YouTube thing more? From anyone?
I thought I was going to get a lot. Sometimes people won't want to be in the video. I'll be, hey, man, you want to film? And sometimes they're like, oh, no. And that's fine. I mean, that's not, if you don't want to, that's cool. But, yeah, I thought I would get a lot more. Maybe it's behind my back, which I don't get to hear it, so that's cool. But, but yeah, not really. Not
really nothing?
Yeah, I mean, the times I get it is if, like, I'm being a smart ass and I'll talk shit to someone, and then maybe they'll say something back, but I asked for it. So they're not really talking shit. I talk shit first, so then they talk shit back.
Do you think maybe you don't get that much hate because you still are like a core rider in the sense that you've had, street parts that you put out with winching, and like you're still very like talented wakeboarder, and like you still stay connected with the core side of the sport?
I think I kind of try and just stay in my own lane, really, kind of. But I think that too. And also, if I make videos, sometimes I'll put in the videos like, hey, a Zeech, like this isn't proper, or these are the grabs that are proper, or I kind of try and like, since there are a lot of people that are uneducated, I try and push them in the right direction at least a little bit, so that it's not just like making wakeboarding more kooky than it already is. So I guess maybe that's why I don't get a lot of backlash, really. But yeah, I don't know. I don't really hear what gets said behind my back. So you can tell me if you want.
I haven't really heard anything. I watch your videos sometimes. I think probably everyone does. I mean,
yeah, it'd be really hard not to, because it's the only thing on YouTube that there's a million wakeboarding videos of. So even if you're looking up how to change your oil or something, it might pop in your feed if you're interested in wakeboarding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's just, I guess, keep going in the YouTube thing. How does the views and the engagement change summer versus off season? It's got to be pretty drastic.
Yeah, super drastic. Like I'd say right around this week, beginning of July, it will start to really ramp up. Maybe 1 week from now it'll really start to ramp up, or 1 week earlier. But there's kind of like a little window over the last 3 years I've noticed. but I mean, it will tenfold, like 10 times as many in summer as winter, probably.
Really?
Yeah.
What is the importance of the thumbnail? How much value is placed on that?
I think it's not the most important thing, but it's in the top 3, kind of. If it'd be, I mean, the person has to click on it, right?
Yeah.
Like if there's 16 other thumbnails on the page, I don't know how many are on the page, but you have to have something that pops out over the other ones so that someone wants to click it.
So what would the top 3 be? Thumbnail, title, and...
Yeah, thumbnail, title, and you just need to keep the person in the video for a long time.
Is there like I don't know if I've heard if this is true or not. Is there like a 10-minute like incentive thing basically? If you make a video over 10 minutes, it'll do better on YouTube or no?
It might do better, but I think now it's 8 minutes.
Okay, they dropped it down.
But it was 10 minutes. But basically, you can put, if it's more than 8 minutes, you can put more than one ad in the video. So then I think, I mean, there's no like proven anything, but I think since if there are more ads in there, your video is going to make YouTube more video or more money. So
they're going to want to push that
They're probably
video.
going to want to push that one.
Okay. So you have your YouTube channel monetized or whatever.
Yeah.
So you run ads.
Yeah.
I guess what's like the payout, not in dollars look like, but like in views, I guess. Is it?
So it just, man, it really depends because I have some videos that pay a lot more and some that pay less, but I want to say, like right now, I would say it's not doing super good just because it hasn't like super spiked. But I'd say like around $4 for 1,000 views, kind of. But if you were to have a boat or a vehicle in it or something, it would maybe make more money. Or if it was just cable park, it would maybe make less money.
Why is that?
I think because there's more ads that could be targeted towards like engines and like
Or
cars
car companies or something.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think if you make a boat video, you might get paid more per view. And or if depending on the country you're in. So if I'm hanging out in the Philippines making a bunch of videos, it will notice that it'll notice that those videos are there, and it will.
So they start paying you pesos.
They'll pay you less, yeah pretty much. Yeah.
How do you?
Christmas would be more, or like it just, and summer they'll pay more because there's more ads for water sport. It's just, yeah, it'd be hard to say like how. It'd be hard to put a dollar amount per view or something.
Yeah, but so you're consistently making money on all the videos that are up though.
Yeah.
As they continuously rack more
like
views up.
Some still rack up like 100 views a day or something. So, and if I think there's like 800 videos. I don't know how many videos there are, but there's hundreds of them. So they're all those ones that are still pushing a little bit. That's basically what keeps the money going, not the new one.
Yeah.
The new one you might make $10 or something.
But over time, eventually.
Yeah, over time, eventually. If it's one that will keep going, like if I were going to go film a rider and be like I would make raw clips with a bunch of riders. If I were going to go film that rider, I would make maybe $10. Yeah, because that video is not going to keep going forever.
Yeah.
And so if anyone wants to make a video with me, I'll give you $10 if you feel like I'm making money off you.
Has anyone ever said anything like that? Like, you're going to be making money off me, JB. I don't want to be in your video.
Yeah, I think I've had it like twice. I've had it twice, yeah. But yeah, you can have my $10.
Yeah, I'll buy you a chicken burger.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay, so I mean, how do you come up with titles for all the videos? Like, what's your workflow process of making or filming a video, editing a video, making the thumbnail, creating the title and all that?
I think I just talked about this last night. I was like, man, I don't even know what to name this video.
I mean, there's some brutal titles out there for sure.
Like I don't know. I don't know what I made so many titles and I try not to make the same one again. I literally wing it every time. There's not really a process.
Okay.
Like my whole process is pretty lame. I don't even take the clips off the memory card when I edit. I just edit it straight from the memory card. I'm not trying to fill up my hard drive or anything.
So they just go right into the editing and then right up to YouTube and then you delete it.
I'll save it if I know there's good stuff in there.
Okay.
I've been saving a lot lately, but usually I don't.
Just to like external hard drive or whatever, full of stuff. Okay. So and you use Final Cut Pro?
Yeah.
Okay. And then what do you use for the thumbnail? Just Photoshop?
Yeah, it's Photoshop.
Okay. How long do those take usually? Like the editing process and creating the thumbnail?
I bet it takes me an hour to edit a video, and then the thumbnail probably like 20 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah, but I think if I had like an iPad or something, I could do the thumbnail in like 5 minutes.
You should get an iPad then.
Yeah, probably.
Okay. You're known for having a strict diet and workout regimen. Can you kind of walk us through that?
It's really bad. We ate McDonald's this morning. I don't have one near my house, so I never eat McDonald's. But
So it's a treat for you.
yeah, it's
usually-
all right.
What do you usually eat in a day?
Yeah, Taco Bell, probably twice.
Twice a
every
day, you eat Taco Bell.
probably, Yeah, I'm not even gonna lie. And then I don't know. I do Chipotle kind of often and Panda Express often. If I'm gonna go to the cable park, I'm for sure gonna get Panda Express. I'll get it, and I'll get a really huge one, and I'll eat half of it. I'll put it in my windshield. It's probably 110 degrees outside in Texas, so it's just the same thing as having that light beating down on
the
it.
heater.
So I'll ride at the cable for 4 hours or 5 hours, hang out with all my friends and stuff, and I'm dying, and then everyone's like, "Oh, dude, I'm starving." And I'm just, yeah, go straight to my car and pull it out of my windshield, and we're ready to go.
So I mean, you don't feel any effects of eating like shit?
Oh yeah, for sure.
I mean, you ever had a salad before? Or?
Yeah, I have, but not really often. But yeah, I feel like it's more like diesel fuel. Like you don't it doesn't run that fast. Like you don't get a lot of power out of it, but it just keeps on chugging along forever.
It's a slow burn.
Yeah.
I'd like to see a doctor's thoughts on that.
It's good for GoProing for sure.
Really?
Yeah.
Fast food.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you can stand out there forever, and yeah, because you're only like using a quarter power. You just stand out there forever and just hold it.
You work out at all?
I did for I think 10 days or 12 days straight over this winter one time.
Wow, nice.
Over winter I got pretty chunky, and then I had like a Centurion shoot pretty early this year, and I had to like sit on the boat and have photos taken of me without a shirt on. So I like went super heavy fasting and like killed myself for like 12 days and lost like 10 pounds. I doubt that's healthy either.
You fast a lot?
No,
No?
but I did for that.
Did it work?
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Just ran on the elliptical machine,
just burning the calories.
yeah.
Speaking of Centurion, how did that relationship come about and get started?
I tried to ride for them before. I think they like probably 2013 time, back maybe 2014, and they had a different team manager back then. And I went to a couple of their shoots and stuff, and it's just nothing ever happened really. And then probably, what am I at, year 3? I'm so bad at
Probably.
like this whole timeline. But I say like 3 years ago, I rode, they needed a wakeboarder for like a little shoot in Austin, and I went and rode. They were only filming an Instagram clip, but I rode on the boat that day. And then Boardco is also Centurion's biggest dealer. So they messaged Centurion for me, and I'm pretty good friends with Ashley Kidd, so she sent him a good email about me, and then they got back to me, and we talked, and then, yeah, they just put it together, like, within, like, a couple days. Yeah.
Is that like a 1-year contract to start?
Yeah, that was they do, I think they do 1 year every year.
Okay. And then did you get a boat the first year or no?
I basically told him I didn't want a boat because I just wanted more budget so I could film more stuff, get better cameras, get better computer. I could go hop on Ashley's boat or whatever. So we kind of had like a shared boat at first. It was pretty much her boat though. Like I was not about to like have Ashley write an email and be like, "Oh, hey, this is half mine now." That would be super not cool of me.
Yeah.
But she was getting a new boat, and I think I was in Florida or something, and Shell, my team manager, she called me up. She said, "Hey, what are you doing?" I'm like, I was driving around in my Prius with Graham, and she was like, I was like, "Oh, just driving through Florida." She's like, "Oh, well, hey, do you want this FI-25 boat? It can be yours." I was like, "Okay." So I just drove straight home from Florida, and the only thing that sucked about that was I had to buy a truck. So I took a pretty heavy hit buying the truck, but
You get a boat.
yeah, I got a boat. So, yeah, so I bought like a super old F-250, and yeah, it's been chugging along.
Okay. So, why Centurion, I guess? You said you tried to ride for him in 2013, and then I know it's the relationship with Boardco is probably a huge, part of it?
Yeah, that actually had nothing to do with it. I think I have a soft spot for it. Like when I was a kid, one of my buddies had a Centurion Avalanche, and it was just a V drive, and I was riding behind that direct drive Supra, and the Avalanche was way sicker. And I was like, oh, this is sick. And then I did that shoot with the old team. I don't know if I even said that part. I tried talking to the old team manager, and I did a shoot with them in Dallas around 2013 time, and the boats were pretty sick. And I think just nobody knew that the boat was sick because it was just they focus on wake surfing, And I was like, holy crap! Like this thing was just at that time it was just as good as the X-Star my dad had, and it had a smaller engine, and the ballast fills up in like 2 seconds. I was like, damn, this is pretty dope. And then I kind of wasn't focused on boat anymore for a while. But then now I had this channel, and I started thinking like, well, why don't I just pump out a bunch of boat videos? And I wasn't gonna go just do them all on my dad's boat, because if I wore it all out, and then if I eventually did get a boat sponsor, then I'd have nothing left to pump out. So I tried getting in contact with them then, because I was like, well, why don't I just make a bunch of boat videos too?
Yeah. How's the relationship been with them, so far?
Yeah, they're cool. Like their team shoot is super cool. They always put us up in like the sickest Airbnb, or one year we all stayed on houseboats. Some of the other riders didn't like the houseboats that much, just because it wasn't like as luxury as like a nice Airbnb, but it was sick. Like I thought it was awesome. Like it was like a giant trailer that floats. Super cool. It's so fun. But yeah, I mean, they've given me a boat the next year again, and I have a ton of fun on it with my friends, so I can't complain.
What do they do with the boat? So you get like a new boat for the year, right?
So I think the boat that I have, so I'll use it, and then after the year is up, I think the dealer gets it, and then they can sell it. And I think that they get it for cheaper because I would have been using it, yeah.
Okay. And I mean, you try and obviously take really good care of it and keep it in good condition?
Yeah, for sure. The last one, I think it went through another person before Ashley as well, so I would have been the third person on it. So it wasn't as perfect when I give it back, but this one now, I think I'm like at like 70 hours or something, and it has not even like the smallest scratch on it or anything. So I've been, just since I'm the only person that had it, I'm the only person that could have messed it up, so I make sure it's perfect. Yeah.
Yeah, they can trace it back to you.
Yeah.
Shoot, what was I was gonna say? So you're a wakeboarder on the team. Who else is on the team? It's you, Ashley,
and David OC. They have a ton of wake surfers, probably like 10 of them. And I don't pay that much attention to wake surfing. I know Ashley Kidd and Keenan Flegel or Sean Silvera or something.
Yeah.
But I don't really pay attention to it that much. But and Dallas Friday and Taylor McCullough, the wakeboarders. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, it's obviously important, I think, to have wakeboarders still be, have a presence when it comes to boats. Do you is that an important thing to you to make sure that like wakeboarding's still getting a good spotlight when it comes to riding behind the boat and not let it all get boiled down to just, wake surfing or?
Yeah, no, I think it's important. For instance, on my lake, on Lake Austin, I see people wakeboarding all the time. Like if I go out, I probably see minimum 1 to 2. And I mean, it's only, I don't know, 100 yards wide, the lake. So, and I only run in one section. So I'll probably see almost 2 every time. So I only stay in that small area. I for sure see a wake surfer every time, obviously. But yeah, I think it's pretty popular on our lake. There's a whole air chair squad, everything. So it's pretty thriving in Austin, I feel like, on the lake.
Okay, that's good to hear.
But I try and make sure almost all the videos are wakeboarding. I will do wake surfing videos sometimes because a lot of people ask for it. But yeah, I think it's pretty important.
So you're still in Texas. Why'd you never move to Florida? Full time Florida?
Yeah, just not into it. Like the crew there, like I'm friends with a lot of people there, and it's awesome. But they don't see outside of they have Lake Jessamine, they have Lake Conway, they have Clear Lake. Maybe some people ride over in, what is the town called? I don't know, but they've got like 5 or 6 lakes that they're all squatted up in, and there's like 7 free boats on each lake, and it's just a little city of wakeboarders that only know about each other. And there's nothing wrong with that because they're all sick and they're all pushing it way better than I can wakeboard. I'm not going to even remotely try and say I'm on the same level. But they're only riding with each other and only pro wakeboard touring. So it doesn't get seen. They don't see what else is going on elsewhere. They only think each other exists, I feel like.
Okay.
And I went up to Active Water Sports last year, and they have the hugest wakeboard community of boats and everything like that. And then this last Centurion shoot over in California on the lake there's so many wake boats everywhere, so many people. My home lake, Lake Austin, there's probably a minimum 1,000 wake boats on this lake. And on Lake Travis, there'd be another 1,000, maybe 3,000, you know. So there's so many people wakeboarding and wake surfing elsewhere that are going out for leisure and having fun, and they don't hear about this Orlando bubble. So I think it'd be stupid for me to go hang out in that bubble and try and cater to them because there's everybody else out there that deserves attention too. And, you know, the people that come on my boat, I bring people out all the time that they're not pro or whatever. That I can show that wakeboarding's fun and it's not the Olympics.
So you talked about the tour. Have you ever ridden on the Pro Wakeboard tour?
Yeah. I used to ride in Junior Pro Men back in the day. I rode in Pro Men too. I got whooped.
Yeah?
Yeah. I got whooped.
I mean, you're not much of a competition rider. You're definitely not nowadays, but
I would make it through a heat here and there sometimes, but I for the most part, I get whooped, yeah.
do you not really like the competition side of things, or is it?
No, I think I like it. I just maybe in the cable I would have liked it more if I would have like started younger rather than 19, 20 years old. But I don't know. I just never had the time to ride boat again and again and again and again. Nor did I feel like spending $40 every time I take a set. You know? So it's just like you need the money to be able to ride that much to be on that level. Because some of these guys, they're riding three times a day, fully slammed on a supercharged engine. There's no way you can achieve that level without riding a ton. So I don't think that I'm capable of achieving that without riding a supercharged engine, 2-3 times a day. I don't think it's possible for me.
Yeah.
I'd rather go have fun with my friends and do tricks here and there and learn some new ones sometimes, and it's way more fun.
What do you think about the Pro Wakeboard Tour nowadays, as it stands?
It's over.
It's over.
The only thing it's good for, really, in my opinion, is showing who the best rider is. So it's sick because the best riders are riding against each other. But, like, marketing-wise, no one watches it. There's a couple hundred people that watch it, but no one.
That might be a high estimate there.
Yeah,
What would you do, or what do you think they could do to make it something that's relevant again? Or is there no way to? I
don't know. I wish I could be helpful. I don't know. I don't know how. Maybe bring beer out there, kegs. Somehow bring another attraction in. It's like you go to a rodeo. It's not all about Rocker Steiner riding that bareback horse. There's a carnival there. There's a music artist there. There needs to be something else to draw people in. Just wakeboarding alone is pretty stale, especially how far away the boat gets. So there needs to be other attractions. I feel like would be the way to bring people in.
Yeah, and then maybe do you think putting girls on the tour would be a good idea?
Yeah, I guess. If they're not, they're not. If they are, they are. It's not like it's going to gain them much more exposure. If they want it to be fair, yeah. But the Pro Tour is nothing anyway, so I don't know. I don't know why it would even matter.
You're not wrong there. Let's talk about Airbud. I guess the journey to get him back from CWC was a long and expensive one. You want to tell me a little bit about that?
It's a really cheap one, actually.
Yeah?
Yeah. It was it felt long because I was scared it was not going to work, but he is just an ESA, and he rode my lap the whole way back.
Really?
And it didn't cost anything. It cost $100 for the ESA and $100 for
what's ESA?
emotional pet support. Oh,
emotional service animal?
Yeah, what is it called? EPS, emotional pet support animal.
EPSA?
He's something like that. I
Okay.
don't know. I don't know what he is, but he's something that I paid for online that's not real. And
But that's all you had to do to get him.
no, I
in
had
the
to get him
States.
shots, which was $100, and I had to get him his blood tested to make sure he had no disease, which was $100. So it was a total of $300.
And you did that in the Philippines.
Yeah. And then he legit walked into the airport on a leash, just a normal collar, no vest, nothing. No one said anything. He got in my lap, rode the whole way, 18 hours, didn't pee or poop.
Yeah, he doesn't
Yeah.
pee or poop for 18 hours.
Yeah, got off the plane, went up to customs on a leash. They asked me if I'd been anywhere near mainland China, and I said no, and they stamped my passport, and I walked through. Direct flight. No one asked a question.
How'd you find him? Did he just run up to you?
I mean, he would run up to anyone who had food, really, at the park. So he was just hanging out. And then I feel like I was just there longer than everyone. So he just kept hanging out. And finally there was a typhoon. So I just brought him into the shelter or whatever. And then after I brought him in once, I just let him stay in my cabin for like 3 more months. And then I was like, oh, well, you're coming back. Because, I mean, Anna had just done it with her dog like the week prior. So I was like, well, if she did it, I'm doing it. And then, yeah.
Why the name Airbud? Did you name him?
Yeah. Oh, well, no, I put on my story Airbud or Donald Trump on a poll, and Airbud won. But I would give him, what is it? Not pudding, but yogurt cups, which is similar cup to pudding. Whenever I had like my yogurt parfaits in the morning, I just set it on the ground and eat the rest of it, like in the movie kind of. So I was like, I just called him Airbud.
Like right from the movie when.
Yeah.
Okay. Boat or cable? Would you say you prefer riding more?
Depends on the cable, but
Perfect cable versus perfect boat.
it's hard. It's hard.
Between me and you, since you're on people working.
No, I don't
think
care.
that
I
you
don't
can skip
care.
forward.
I can say whatever I want. I think. Shoot, I don't know. Cable maybe would edge it out a little bit, just because as long as it's a good cable and it goes faster than 28K. Yeah, just because there's so many people that can be there and so many friends and like a bigger community. I can only fit a few people on my boat at a time.
Yeah.
But on the boat at home is sick, just because I bring a bunch of friends and different people, and there's a lot of stoke factor. It's not very Orlando-y, where it's like someone does a 10 and the people on their boat are like looking at their phone and they do that, you know? So yeah,
I mean, they're totally different vibes.
the
like,
stoke factor on the boat, you have all the tension at once. That's really cool. And then the cable, you can do whatever you want. You can just show up. But I think I have more things to do on the cable, so that might edge it out a little bit. The cable will win by a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, there's something cool about the boat where it's like whoever's on the boat is on the boat and they're not going anywhere. Like you're hanging out with them for the day, so like your attention's.
If I had to pay for the boat, the cable.
What do you think about the price of boats these days?
That's insane. Yeah, it's insane. But I mean, if you can afford it, why not? You know. But as for like I could not personally just go buy a brand new boat. I could go buy a used boat, sure. Yeah, but a brand, well, maybe I could buy a brand new boat, because I'm pretty sure you can get a 30-year loan on one.
Like a house.
Yeah, like a house. Yeah. So, but I wouldn't personally do that. But yeah, I mean, yeah, it's very expensive.
You think that's like, going to have a detriment to the longevity of wakeboarding as a sport, or maybe not a?
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
I don't think so. I mean, I talked to dealers before in like last November, and they were already sold out for all of this year of the boats. So I think that it's going smoothly. And then whenever the market craps the bed, there'll be a huge used market. So then
It'll allow other people to get into it.
Then the people who wanted the sick boat that couldn't afford the sick boat will be able to get the sick boat. And then the people that are still rich can
Get a new one.
So I think that it'll be or maybe not like affordable, but there'll be enough people that can afford it, so that their homies that can't can come on it. So I think that it's fine.
All right. What do you think about the state of wakeboarding media as it stands today? Being the biggest media kind of person in the sport.
Oh man, I don't know. Say it. Ask me the question better. I don't know.
Ask me the question better.
Yeah.
I mean, what changes would you like to see in wakeboarding media?
Like magazine wise, or like
anything. Like the state that it's in today is you're dominating, you know, the media side of wakeboarding when it comes to video content.
I think that if the magazines want to get better, I think they shouldn't make it such an ad. Like, I know that people are paying for the ad, but if it's just ad after ad after ad, no, you're going to lose viewer after viewer after
It's
viewer.
too watered down.
So if you show people having fun on a product and not so much, this is the Mind Bender surfboard. I don't know if that's a name for one, but
Probably.
it's very fast on the yeah.
That does nothing for anybody. Like,
Yeah, it doesn't do any. I mean, maybe some people like that, but no one cares about it. They want to see people having fun, having a good time, and if there happens to be that product in the video, I think they should be more organic. That's how I should say it, yeah. And I think there should be, if these sponsors are paying the big money out to these magazines, like Cole Vanthoff is there for Alliance, for instance. That's dope, but he's one person, and it would be really hard for him to pump out all of this stuff from just one guy, especially when it has to be professional from a magazine. There needs to be more people hired.
yeah.
I think Alliance, I think they ran out like a super expensive place in Cali, like thousands and thousands of dollars a month, where their
The
headquarters
wakeboard
is.
hub of Southern California.
Yeah. So I think maybe if they like relocated or something and they could afford to use some of that money to put more people on, I think that there could be better content out there,
Yeah.
more original content for their website so that more people will go there. And same, I don't know anything about Wakeboarding Magazine, but they need something. They need people there to produce.
Yeah, I mean, I think the wakeboarding magazine thing would be a much harder, you know, to see it change with because they're owned by, you know,
Bonnier Corp.
yeah. But Alliance is its own thing. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, so you could change, I guess,
But
a lot easier.
it could survive for much longer. I mean, I have no idea the longevity of it, and I feel like I'm bashing them a lot or whatever. But if there was just more people to produce more content, then their numbers would be going up, and it would show a positive ROI, and more people would want to reinvest money with them. So then they could keep pumping out more and more and more. I mean, I'm probably not raking in as much of a profit as they are. So, but because they have a lot more people to pay. But if they had more content creators, I think it could go a lot better.
So bring down the overhead and spread that
Yeah.
extra money out
Yeah.
to the content creation side of things. Interesting.
But what I'm saying could be totally wrong. I'm just saying stuff.
Well, I mean, that's all anyone can do. So you're about to hit 100K, right? What are you at, 92 right now? 91?
I think just 90.
Just 90?
Yeah.
Okay.
I could be at 91 though.
Any plans for 100K? You're going to surf that fucking thing they send you, right? The gold plate or whatever?
Yeah, sure.
Of course.
Yeah.
That's a video idea. Give me $10 for that.
But yeah, I want to make a full part again. So maybe after 100K, maybe I will, or maybe I'll wait till winter time, and then I can have enough time to like go try stuff. I don't know when I'll do it again, but I want to at least one more time. So that'd be pretty cool. But yeah, because all I wanted really was that little plaque, so I could just have it because it'd be a pretty cool award. I don't have any other really super cool awards, so I think that'd be dope to have.
Yeah.
But after that, I would like to like take a little break and then maybe try and film something more serious and then just go back at it again.
Take a break from the every other day thing
Yeah.
after 100K?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if it'd be instantly after.
Yeah,
but yeah, if I could have a break to go film something where I actually like put effort into it, I think that'd be cool.
So have you been saving any clips at all over the past few years when you're doing this YouTube thing, or?
Sometimes I'll do something cool and then I just ended up keeping it for a long time, and then the board is so old that I just post it. So no, I haven't.
Not currently
Not really.
stacking for anything?
I think I did like an ollie to blind into a kicker and then underflipped into the bank at CWC like two years ago or something. And then the wakeboarding level has already caught up and people are doing that already. So I wasted my time saving that clip. But yes, I have nothing saved really.
Okay. But that might be the plan going
Yeah.
forward, is to film
Yeah.
another part.
Yeah.
A lot of winching probably in it.
Yeah, it would probably be like mostly winching.
Okay. So you're like sponsored by Rewinch, right?
Yeah, they give me a free winch.
Okay. So explain, I guess, and talk to this about Grant, or talk to Graham about this, the difference between a gas and electric winch, and just how much easier it is and achievable it is to actually go winching with the electric winch.
It's definitely easier. Carrying it is easier for sure, and driving it is way easier. So before, if you had like the gas winch, you would have to have 3 people that are all maybe have ridden dirt bikes before or have a good idea of just how to start an engine if it's cold, or like you could put someone at a gas winch and I could watch them pull it 30 times in a row and I could pull it once and it starts. I mean, you probably know, you know how that is. So if you don't have 3 people that know what's up for the gas winch,
you're not getting anything done.
You're not getting anything done.
Yeah.
But if the electric winch, you can do 2 people and get things done. Because the wireless remote, I could probably stand, I don't know, at least 100 feet away, and I could be standing right next to the spot, so I can film and drive at the same time. So now I no longer need 3 people. I mean, it's ideal to have 3, but now I don't need 3. So and it's quiet, so you don't hear it, and no, you get kicked out less. And I can just throw it in a backpack. If I have to walk through the woods or something, I don't have to lug this giant thing with a motor over giant rocks and things like that. Also, whoever builds gas winches, I'm just going to give you guys a tip. You should put the engine on the same side as the wheels, because even though it has wheels, you're still carrying the whole engine because the engine is on the side that you carry. So if you do build gas winches, you guys should really think it through.
100%. It's a leverage game. So you and Graham go winching a lot. He's like stacking for obviously another part, and you're making the YouTube videos. How important is your relationship with him? And I guess to have him around and like basically almost, it seems like you guys have been brothers for a while.
Yeah, it makes things way easier because he wants to film all the time, so I get filmed all the time. And he's wanting to go to spots, and he needs someone to film him, land a banger. And a lot of times a banger, I might sit there and film him try something 40 times in a row. And I know most kids at the cable park, you fall twice or something, they're over it, So it's super good because I'm pretty patient with that. So I'll chill and I'll watch him fall 40 tries before he lands a banger. And I'm like, then at the end of it, it's like, sick. This is dope. And then I make a lot more vlogs than he goes out and tries bangers. So he's pretty much there almost every time just to help film with it. So it's super helpful, like in both directions, because like without each other, kind of, it would be really hard for him to land bangers and be really hard for me to get all of my videos done. So it's nice to have someone always there, because otherwise, yeah, it's almost impossible. Unless you want only POV clips for all of eternity.
Yeah. So that's your relationship on the water. I mean, off the water, you guys, you're pretty close. You're pretty tight.
Yeah, I mean, we hang out like all the time. I mean, I'll go over where he lives and we'll like ride pit bikes. He has like an electric pit bike thing. We'll ride pit bikes or whatever. Most of the time we're wakeboarding because we wakeboard all the time, or we go do something water sports related. So, we hang out at least like every other day probably.
Okay. And so you're living in Texas. Were you living with your parents for a while before you got your new camper? Is that where you were before?
Yeah, for a while. My dad was having his house remodeled, so I was living in that while that was getting remodeled, and then pretty much I'd be away from home almost the rest of the year for the most part. So, me and Graham would go on the road for like 6 months or, 3 or 4 months straight to all the different cable parks. So the time I spent at home was 2 months a year almost. Yeah. So
it doesn't make sense to buy a house or anything.
I couldn't just afford to go rent a house or an apartment in Austin because it's minimum $1,200 a month, So now I have the whole camper thing. It's only $500 a month.
And where do you park it, or?
It's in a neighborhood called Hudson Bend. It's like a mile from Lake Travis and maybe like 8 miles from Lake Austin.
Okay.
So it's pretty dope because I can go to either lake, and it's probably 45 minutes from Quest.
Not bad. You got a bed sponsor for a video.
Yeah.
How does that come about? Do they reach out to you and say, "Hey, we're gonna send your bed"? And
No, me and Graham use this app sometimes, and I'm not gonna say it because I don't want all y'all to get on it. But but basically, there's just a bunch of brands on there, and you can just click on the brand, and they'll pay you a few $100 to like post something. So like,
but you have to have a following, obviously, and then
I think if you had like 10,000 followers or something, they would do it. Like maybe they wouldn't pay you, but oh, here's a free bed instead of a bed in cash or whatever. So like, it basically checks your engagement of your Instagram or your YouTube or whatever, and it will just tell you like a dollar amount that they think you should ask from the brand, and then you just click on the brand, and then they either say yes or no, and then you might make a couple $100 right there.
Yeah.
And I just did it to get a free $1,600 bed for my new camper, really, and yeah. So I don't really do it often because I don't want to
saturate
be
it.
holding a Rockstar can or a million times.
Speaking of energy drinks, has any relationship ever been close to getting started with energy drink brands or no?
No. I tried to talk with Rockstar Craig a bunch of times, but every single time was like you had to go out and like try and party with this dude, and I don't really party, so nah. I watched Gunner Daft go out and party with this dude probably 400 times, dude, and until this dude put Gunner on Rockstar. And, like, Gunner's sick, and he has a sick style, and it should have been, like, no question. But I swear, like, sometimes it's about being the homie with someone, but I just, there's no way I could ever hung. So,
Yeah.
I'm not a rock star. But I tried before. It didn't work.
All right. Well, I mean, I think we did it here. Is there anything else you want to talk about or anything you want to say? Get off your mind?
No, it's good. That was it. That was easy. I felt like 30 minutes, but I think it was longer than that.
It was
right?
longer than 30 minutes for sure. Obviously, any sponsors you want to thank or any people you want to thank?
Maybe just my dad. He's pretty epic, and that's pretty much it.
Just your dad?
Yeah.
Jack?
Yeah. Jack Belton O'Neill III.
Okay. Are you the fourth then?
Yeah, I'm the fourth.
Okay. And are you going to have kids?
If I accidentally have one, I guess I'll be a fifth.
Would you name him JB5?
Yeah, JB5.
Okay. Sick.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks for coming on. I got a shirt there if you want it, or some stickers too.
Oh, sick.
Appreciate taking the time out of your day. Thanks everyone for listening, watching. What do you say at the end of your videos?
Oh, peace.
Oh, you say like, comment, subscribe.
Oh yeah, guys, like, comment, subscribe, and there's not gonna be one of these every second day forever.
Nope.
But if there is, you're really hardcore. But yeah, see y'all next time.
Later, guys.